Hello, and welcome to this YouTube channel. My name is Jameelah, and I am a master manifester, and I'm sure you are too because you are consuming content like this. The name of this lovely channel is Holistic Manifesting because I believe in a whole body, whole mind, and whole being experience when it comes to manifesting these amazing lives that we are choosing to live. What I'm discussing in this video is I want to keep my mic a little bit further away from me. I feel like sometimes it pops. Is the difference between watchers versus supporters, right? What you find when you're on your master manifesting journey, whatever it is that you are working on, whatever it is you're trying to create, whatever it is that you are co-creating actively with the universe, there's always going to be these moments in time to where you have supporters or people that show up at any given time on your path. And I always say that it's so important to remember that there's a place for everyone that is in your space. There's a place for everyone. There's not a contact that's in my phone list that doesn't have some type of little parentheses next to it saying what it is. My daughter was making fun of it because I literally have that for like siblings. It's like their name and then in parentheses brother and the name and in parentheses sister. It's like for me, that's important because I always need to know what is this person's duty in my life? Like what is their, what do they represent? And why should they be there? What is the relevance? And I think everybody should do this. This is not just something I'm thinking I should be doing. Everybody should be doing this. You should always know why people are present in your space. So when you are on that path and you come across different types of people, it shouldn't take you very long to notice the difference between a watcher and like a supporter. And this is not to say that everybody you come across is supposed to be somebody who supports you hardcore. But if you're bringing them into your inner circle and you're having them around you in your space, then there's some level of support that they should be offering, whether it's an emotional support, just an ear to lend to you, whether it's financial support or physical support, something along the realms of there should be some type of role that you all are playing in each other's life, right? And you should be able to identify what that is early on. So when you have people around who are supporters of you, you'll find things like if you put out new projects or something like that, they're always going to be interested. They're always going to be willing to purchase a course or purchase a book or purchase something that's related to you, right? I've known several people over the years till we don't have a really close friendship over time. Like we just never developed that bond, but we've always been very supportive of each other's endeavors. Whatever they're doing, I support. Whatever I'm doing, they just support because they're like, hey, I like you. I like what you're doing, even though on a regular basis, we don't have a lot to have a conversation about or talk about or something like that, right? Supporters are also people that whenever you share things that's happening in your life or you have, different things occur, they always have the best words to say. Like what they're sharing with you or like a decision you're trying to make, it has nothing to do with what would be best for them. So sometimes you come across these people who are giving you advice based on how you fit in their life and whether or not, your role is going to be affected if you make a decision. So it's just like, I got this really cool opportunity to make, deep into the six figures and it's in another state and I'm thinking about going there and moving there. Well, somebody who's not truly supporting you is going to first think about this person moving away. How does that impact me? How does that affect me? They're not going to be thinking about what that opportunity might mean for you in your life and your career and what you're working on and what you want to experience in this, human existence, right? Another, I'll say, tenet of a person that's truly supportive that we don't give enough time and energy to is how do we feel when we're in their presence? Because a lot of times we like to think, okay, well, maybe I'm overthinking this, or maybe I'm just a jaded person. Maybe I'm a little bitter over here. Maybe I don't trust people or something like that. But I think a lot of times that we don't give enough attention to that we notice. We notice when somebody is finicky with us. We notice when things are off, right? I've almost never been wrong with this. When someone was showing me something really specifically, and it's like, oh yeah, I'll look out for you. I'll do this. This happens so many places with so many people in different environments. I'll look out for you. I'll take care of this. I'll, make sure that, when the chips fall where they may, that you are on the right side of it and all this kind of stuff. And then, but in my insides and my interactions, I felt like there's something a little bit off with that, right? It's the kind of people that if you say something one day, they like you, and then you say something another day, and then they write you off. And then they think about it. Oh, maybe I shouldn't have wrote them off. And then they come looking for you again. It's like I've been around people that flip flop like that, and it's common with a person like me because I don't really change my desire to be authentically who I am. So if I say something or do something, that's just who I am and where I'm at in that moment. And so when you're around people that are not really secure, know or sure of themselves, they'll flip-flop all over the place. So they can support you to a certain degree, but you never bring them all the way in because you already know that their energy is really finicky. It's really based on whether or not you show up a certain way or perform for them. And whenever that's the case, you're going to get in trouble at some point. You're going to get on the wrong side of their right at some point, right? And you'll feel it. You can feel when you've created a distance by something you said or something you did. It's just like, hey, we should all be able to coexist, right? So while they support you outwardly and they show a lot of interest, I call those people allies. I call them allies because I know that I have allyship with them as long as I'm in the right corner with them. But the minute that's not the case, then they're off in another realm. So I would never truly call them a supporter, like a full supporter. That's just not something that I would do. And I literally have people in my phone that says ally next to their name because sometimes I'm just like, well, that's not a good word for that person. I wouldn't say supporter. And then there's some people that say colleague because that's kind of all it is. And you'll know when you feel like a person's a true supporter because when something new or exciting or is on the cusp in your life of happening, you'll want to share it. You'll be like, this thing is possibly going to happen. Maybe it will or whatever. And you won't feel like, oh, this is premature sharing. Oh, maybe I shouldn't share this with this person. Maybe I shouldn't talk about this. You'll feel like it's perfectly okay for you to do that. And I've had some things recently come up to where I just didn't feel the need to share with certain people. This is career related. And I know that I'm in the right mindset when I do this because it's not even about being, being untrustworthy or being overly skeptical or being paranoid. It's really about being smart. And I was thinking like, oh, I should because she's connected to this. But I'm like, nah. I'll keep it to myself. I'll keep it to myself until it plays itself all the way out. And that's generally how you got to be. If you don't know where people belong, then you wind up sharing information in the wrong places. And then you can have opportunities, have sabotage happen to them. And it's not really about that they hold your destiny in some kind of way. But I do think all of these things are feedback about where we are on our path, right? So the creator can have something really juicy, really exciting, and really fun waiting for us. But depending on how we approach that opportunity, how we approach the people in our circle that we keep around us, then that opportunity may or may not be something for us, right? So it's like, do you want the opportunity now or do you want it like in December? Most of us will say now, right? They're like, I don't even know if I'm gonna be here in December. But if we make the wrong decisions with who we allow to be in the space or what energies we bring in, that means that we're not necessarily ready for certain opportunities or for certain challenges in life. So when you get those inklings of like, this person may not be a true supporter, this may not be the best place to share this information or something like that, you got to go with it, right? And so on the other hand, somebody who's a watcher, right? A watcher is a person that they are in the shadows. They're always paying attention to what you're doing, what you're working on, what you're sharing, what you got going on. But they won't necessarily go out of their way to support you in any kind of way. They won't, financially support you. They won't, for something that's always been big for me, they won't read a book. And that's not to say you got to read all the chapters, but they won't support you in that deep, important way that you're looking for, and you've offered that kind of support to them. So I'm not even saying this is one-sided, but they're always watching, and every now and then they'll say, oh, great job on this, and you're just like, I didn't even know you were still around. But they're in the shadows somewhere, they're lurking, they're always paying attention to what you're doing. And some watchers have good intentions, because I'm not always saying that all watchers are people that's like, have negative intentions. Some watchers are just people that sometimes your light or what you're bringing is too bright. They don't know how to, and I'm going to do a video on this. They don't have a container big enough to hold what you're sharing. So because of that, they just kind of keep their distance. While they don't mean you any harm and they don't mean anything negative, they kind of just watch from the sidelines and just like, oh, that's what she's doing. But they'll never truly come into you because they can't like see themselves in you. They can't fully connect with you. So you'll hear them supporting deeply other people, other ventures, other environments. But when you meet the people in places and things that they're supporting, it's usually people that's right at the same like emotional intelligence level as they are, or the same self-confidence that they have, or the same self-esteem that they have. And they may see you as somebody outside of that. So it's not always malicious. It's just like a mismatch or misalignment, right? Now, there's also these things called malicious watchers, right? There are people that's truly connected, truly subscribed, truly following you just to see a downfall, just to nitpick you apart, just to say something negative, just to be a person and be like, see, I knew they weren't going to make it. I knew they weren't good enough for that because they believed this and they were like that. So many people are sitting there doing that. With celebrities and people that are like in the spotlight, you get a large opportunity to do that because they're putting all their life on the line. They're showing you everything that's happening in their life, right? I really applaud certain celebrities that don't give people anything because you don't owe them anything but your work, right? And I can think of a few right off the top of my head. And one of them, she's always demonized for not sharing anything about her life. But I don't blame her at all because the minute she shares it, the minute it's going to be scrutinized and the watchers are going to come out of the shadows, right? And it's like, you're not even a full supporter. So why are you even over in her space in the first place? Just, go be somewhere else. And I'm a firm believer that you don't even have to be a fan of somebody to know that they deserve what they have and to give them their full respect, right? And so sometimes watchers are that way. It's like they know you're putting in the work. They know you are the person that's sacrificing this and that. They know your mindset has been right, that you've been the kind of person that's willing to, get rid of certain relationships if they didn't line up. You're always willing to grow more, learn more. You're always willing to do the emotional intelligence work. They know that you're doing this, but at the same time, they for whatever reason, don't want to give you the credit for it. So instead of just saying, you know what, that person is doing their thing or whatever, they're going to be just a watcher, and then they're going to sit there and wait for something that you have go wrong. They're waiting for that thing to go wrong or something not to work out, or they're waiting for you to fall off, whatever you were doing to some degree. So that's why I always say it's so important to not attach yourself and your self-worth to certain opportunities, because my mindset is that you got to be great whether things come and go. You got to be great whether that relationship is there or not. You got to be great whether or not you have that beautiful house, right? You got to be great whether or not you drive that specific car, because they're waiting for you not to have those things. They're waiting for you not to be shining as bright as you are. But when your light is shining from within, when your light is shining based on the work that you've been doing, based on the time and energy that you've been putting in, it doesn't matter these exterior things, whether they come and go, the relationships come and go, the people come and go, the opportunities come and go, because you're still going to be a bright light shining. So, those kind of watchers, they can watch forever because they're never going to get what they want. Because if you're the kind of person like me, you're the phoenix that rises from the ashes no matter what. So you can watch. It really doesn't matter. You can stay in the shadows. It doesn't matter. And that's what I call malicious watchers, right? So you should always know people in your life and what role that they're playing, right? Whether or not they're a true supporter of you, whether or not you're a true supporter of them, always know that. Or whether or not they're just watching. And like I say, all watchers aren't bad, right? But don't try to get a watcher to be a supporter. And don't hold a watcher up to the same standard that you do a supporter, because you're going to be disappointed. And you're going to run off somebody who's potentially a nice person to lurk in the background and, tell other people. And think about, and this is another thing. The thing about watchers who aren't malicious also too, they're not supporters in another way too, because they won't really share your information with other people. They won't really tell other people about you, or this is what's going on and this is what they're working on, or this person has a new book or whatever, or this person has a new song, a new project, or a new course. You'll be something that only they pay attention to. They won't really share the information, because when you have a person that is kind of on the fringe of a watcher and a supporter, they're the kind of people that may give your information to other people and say, oh, so-and-so does this, or they do that. And sometimes, like I said, it's not malicious. You don't even cross their mind because you haven't haven't been able to, they can't fully relate to you. And there's something that's triggering them or turning them off or keeping them at a distance. But you got to be yourself. It has nothing fully to do with you, right? It just is what it is. Always know the difference between people who are supporters, people who are watchers, and then everything in between: colleagues, allies, associates, and then somebody that you're calling a deep friend, right? So you just know the difference, and you'll always be on the right path, because I think that that's a huge part of manifesting the lives that we choose. When we're not being discerning, that means that we have not leveled up our emotional intelligence, and we're still afraid to not be liked by people, or to not be loved, or to not be adored. And when we're still in that space, we don't necessarily get honest and clear about the role somebody's playing in our lives. We try to make them more than what they are all the time, and they're just not that, and that's perfectly okay. Anyway, I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful day.